get ready for it. They, I had one of the writers come to me talking to us about what they want me and Piper to be wearing, how they want us to behave, like all the gimmicks, all this stuff. Like it was happening. They said in 2 weeks we're going to be doing Chelsea and Mitchin. You're coming in, costing Mitchin, joining Chelsea. That was exactly how they did it with Alba. And I was like, cool. And then 6 days later, I don't have a job.
Welcome everyone to That Sweet Pop. My name is Dion McCracken. He is Brad Lewis, and welcome along to another bumper show that we have for you this week. Brad, how you doing?
Very good, Dion. As we record this, fresh off the heels of what was a very enjoyable and entertaining Smackdown, just pretty amped to get in and talk to you about wrestling so quickly after a great show.
Yeah, absolutely. Full disclosure, we've completely changed what we were going to talk about today after seeing Smackdown. We obviously all knew what was potentially coming, but man, we've got a lot to get into this week. Speaking of this week, we've got part 2 of our interview with Bea Priestley. Interesting to see the pickup by a few in the wrestling world on Bea's comments from episode 1, especially around her nearly signing with AEW and with Piper Niven being given that opportunity as well. They got a lot of pickup on the internet over the week.
It did. Thank you to those organizations for giving us a shout out and taking a quote from our interview, which is great, and giving us the credit. So, and we sort of said in reflection that it's something that kind of went over our heads when she said that AEW wanted Piper, or Kenny Omega basically offered Piper Niven a contract, and Cody and Brandy did, and at the time she signed with NXT. It sort of. I think Fightful picked it up and a couple of other wrestling newsprint organizations, so it's great.
Yeah, well, you wait to see what we've got in part 2 coming up a little bit later in the show.
Fantastic chat.
And before we crack into it, I just want to give a quick shout out to Mitchell Fells. Absolutely. Everyone in the New Zealand wrestling scene knows Mitchell Fells. I think he's New Zealand's biggest professional wrestling fan. Now, Mitchell, he lives with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. This guy's 32 years old. Again, the biggest wrestling fan that you're going to come across. Attends every single New Zealand wrestling show that there is. The guy's a legend. And I remember back in 2019, and you'll remember this, Brad, a whole heap of people got together, fundraised, did whatever they could to get Mitchell to WrestleMania. And he did. He lived the dream in New York, WrestleMania 35, which you were at as well. Fantastic guy. And happy birthday, Mitch. His birthday was on Saturday, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Absolutely. Dion's a good dude. Love his mum too. She's lovely. Jan sat next to her at a couple of IPW events. Fantastic family, and he's a good human being.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, let's crack into our top story. So our top story this week is Wrestlepalooza. AJ Lee and Brock Lesnar now guaranteed to appear. Those were the rumors, Brad. That's what we expected. And again, Smackdown did not disappoint with both AJ Lee and Brock Lesnar appearing. Before we crack into AJ, how did we get here? Clash in Paris. Incredible show. And you know what I really loved, Brad, about the main event was obviously it became a setup for Wrestlepalooza, right? Becky coming in, the low blow on Punk, the positioning of everything at the end of the match. It really was cinema, with Punk crawling towards Becky and the head floating over the chair, the stomp, the end of the match coming soon after. All of these matches are obviously pretty heavily produced, finishes especially. It felt like this one was a real masterstroke. What were your thoughts on that match?
Look, the seeds were planted pretty obviously once you saw Becky in the mask, and they painted that whole story around Seth being alone with Paul Heyman taken out in the opening match with Roman, and then Braun and Braun getting kicked out and barred from ringside. So it was either going to be some new member of the Vision, as in like an Austin Theory or someone like that, or a Ricky Saints, but no, it was his beautiful wife Becky with a nut shot, and at that point, I just was like, okay, it's AJ Lee and CM Punk versus Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, probably at Wrestlepalooza. given that they want to counter program what AEW is doing, and we've seen AEW's move their start time now. But yeah, it's a huge match. We've seen the reaction that AJ got, so it's a first time ever, which is something always really cool to promote. This has never been seen before, so yeah, it's going to be awesome.
I think it's going to be interesting to see if this is going to be a one-off attraction or if Becky is going to continue and be a part of the vision moving forward. I think either of those are completely valid options and certainly perfect for leading into Wrestlepalooza.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think I kind of think she's aligned herself a little bit. She posted something on social media after Raw talking about the Vision and CM Punk not being part of it and kayfabe. So, look, I think she's a really good addition to that. Apparently, Paul Heyman's taken a little bit of time off, so maybe she might become a little bit of a mouthpiece for them. And I don't know. Maybe we're even here. I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like Dion stables are they run their course. And they just keep going. I mean, Judgment Day's been going for like nigh on 6 years, right? Like five or 6 years. And I don't know, I'd like to already see seeds start to be sown around Braun Breaker. And he's a breakout star, Dion. He is the future of the business. And maybe even, some sort of friction starting to build between him and Seth. And maybe we end this faction a little bit sooner than probably we thought we would.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Braun probably could become a big star real quick. I think Bronson probably needs a little bit more time under the vision tree before he can truly be that real breakup out star. Fantastic that he got a one-on-one match with Roman Reigns.
And
how good is that for his career?
Put in a great performance.
Absolutely.
Like, didn't lose an ounce of heat. I know he suffered the 1, 2, 3, but the beatdown post match, he's a star in the making, man. Like, and he's got probably right now top 3 over finishing maneuvers in the business, along with the RKO and chuck any other finisher here. The tsunami is it's really over right now, and devastating finishing maneuver.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, he is a star already. The guy is a star already, but I think aligning yourself in a faction like the
can only help.
The longer that he can be there, the rub just gets that bit more. I think it can only help his career long term.
Yeah.
From there, by the way, we moved we stayed actually in the same arena for Raw, the 30,000 seat biggest indoor arena in Europe, as they said. Incredible crowd. We'll touch a little bit more on Clash in Paris and the European tour a little bit later, but Becky Lynch, that promo with CM Punk. Becky is one of the best promos in the business. And it feels like she's getting better and better. It felt like being in there with CM Punk elevated her a little bit more. I don't know if it's a case of, you have a tremendous dance partner and you get your boogie shoes on a little bit more yourself. Maybe there was a little bit of that going on. I love when Becky comes out with this new line of hers of being the greatest female wrestler of all time. It's not just me saying it. Everybody's saying it. Sports Illustrated say it.
Chicago Tribune, I think she said today as well.
It's everywhere. So good. But that visual of Becky slapping Punk over and over and over again, it almost became a little bit uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
It certainly felt
by
very
design.
Powerful. Absolutely. And here we are. What do you think of Becky's promos at the moment?
Really, like, she needed a character shift, right? Like, the man, big time Bex, like, gone like that era when she was the most over female, potentially most over pro wrestler in the business, sort of in 2018, 2019. That's well and truly gone, and I kind of feel like she needed that character shift and to tie it all in with her husband. And she calls, what does she call him, her hot, sexy husband, Seth Rollins. Like, I think it's a really good move for her, and I think she's a better promo as a heel than a face. Anyway,
absolutely.
Like I feel like where she can bring that out of the crowd. Like, I really feel like when Charlotte, for instance, Charlotte Flair as a baby face, she really struggles in promo, like and Becky's still a good promo as a face, but as a heel she's just she's outstanding. She can really get into the audience, get into the character, and we saw that on SmackDown, we saw it on Raw. Love what they did. Like, I don't know about you, Dion, but I actually like the fact that she looks like a badass, like no fear, slapping the crap out of CM Punk, knowing that he's not going to retaliate. I like that. Like, I'm doing this with no consequences. You can't touch me. So, and obviously she got her dues paid on SmackDown, which was great. And I'm really excited to see what the next few weeks brings. And I'm sure that we'll see probably AJ and Punk and the four of them on Raw on Tuesday, NZT.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know what else was powerful? Just to coming back off Raw, there was uh, Punk's line to Becky right at the end of that promo. You're going to regret putting your hands on me.
Yeah.
And the way that crowd reacted, 30,000 in the arena. Did all 30,000 think that meant AJ Lee? Who knows? But the reaction of that crowd, we just knew we were in for something big, and that leads us on to SmackDown. Rumors all week. You know, we often see signs like if Cena wins, we riot. It kind of felt like in Chicago, if AJ Lee did not show up, Chicago was gonna riot. WWE did not disappoint. Here's a woman who's been off WWE television for 10 years, a former 3-time Divas champion. It felt like maybe we'd never see her come back. It was almost expected that she may, when her husband CM Punk came back a couple of years back. But it got to the point where I didn't think she was going to come back at all. And yet here we are, this opportunity has presented itself. Brad, we felt it was coming. How did you react when AJ Lee graced our screens?
Look, I had the family watching, and I was, sort of kind of predicting it. Like, I just stood up and applauded. I was really happy for her because she loves the business and was disillusioned with it, with what happened with her husband. And we have to remember that sort of 11, 12 years ago when, when Punk left WWE. And wanted out. And she's been doing her own thing. I mean, they both starred in Heels together, which, by the way, is a very, very good show. If you get the chance to see that, CM Punk and AJ Lee are a part of that. And just really, really happy for her. And to me, did you see her face, Dion? Like, it looked like she was really happy to be there. And we know
they were having a lot of fun. They were having a lot of fun.
And I'm sure that Becky and Seth were really happy for her as well. And just to see Punk, the pride in his face. And I can imagine, and look, we've heard the stories. WWE is a much nicer culture now to be involved in. And I'd imagine, and we know how much Paul Levesque wants to promote women's wrestling, and he understands that AJ Lee is one of the biggest names of women's wrestling, probably top 10 in terms of what she accomplished, the role that she played. She's always been a great promo. So I was just really, really happy for her, and I was happy for the crowd. And wrestling's all about moments, about those goosebump moments. I got goosebumps, Dion. I just thought it was I thought it was emotional, and it's why I love the sport of pro wrestling so much, because it draws out emotion to where the fact I was close to tearing up. Now, that may sound really weird that a near 50-year-old man was tearing up when when a 30-odd-year-old woman returns to the pro wrestling ring for the first time in 10 years. But when you know the backstory and what both her and Punk have been through, and the vitriol and the AEW stint for Punk and everything that's happened since.
Yeah, totally.
It was an awesome, awesome occasion. I don't know about you. What did you get goosebumps?
Yeah, I did. I felt like I was on one of those reaction videos for a little bit, because I think I was overselling unintentionally.
Yeah. I was just applauding. I was so happy. Like, I wasn't even cheering.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And
so
again, cool. The fact she looks incredible, by the way.
Mate.
She's been off television for 10 years. She is in tremendous shape. She doesn't look like she's aged today.
She's got calves like Tyson, and the quads, and she looks like in just tremendous shape. She had washboard abs, and we know she can go in the ring. So, and I'm sure Becky will be a great sort of partner for her inside the ring. I think it's going to be a banger match, and Wrestlepalooza shaping up to be a hell of a card. What a day of wrestling that's going to be. That's going to be like a 9-hour day, Dion. We're going to have All Out in the morning, and then sort of Wrestlepalooza in the afternoon. And what are we looking like now? A couple of big main events, maybe Cody and Drew fits in there as well. So it's looking like it's going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing, I guess, about this tag team match, we haven't even considered what the match is going to look like. It is going to be a tremendous professional wrestling match with incredible storytelling and with two married couples going at it, probably for the very first time ever.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Looking forward to it, and just really happy for everyone involved. And look, hopefully they have a hot. Indianapolis is normally a really, really good pro wrestling crowd, so I'm sure they'll get behind all four of them, and I think we'll see a great match. It's going to be a hell of a card.
Yeah, no doubt. And of course, Brock Lesnar is going to be on that card as well. We knew that was coming. There's so much history between Brock Lesnar and John Cena. Brock coming in on SmackDown did Brock Lesnar things, just coming in and destroying his upcoming opponent, which is about all he needs to do to sell pay-per-views. Again, the history between these two is so interesting, and I can't help but feel, even at this stage of their careers, that this match at Wrestlepalooza is probably, for mine, I think it's going to end up being certainly in the top 3 of Cena's matches on the farewell tour.
Yeah,
Brock is an all-time athlete, and Cena is producing as good a work as he ever has in his career for mine.
it's important, and it's a different type of match for John, where he won't have a Randy or a Cody to sort of help him get through a 25-minute match. Like, it's probably going to be quite short, I'd imagine. Look, we'll see. Brock is a giving worker. We know that. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't have the same confidence that you do that this is going to be up there. Like, it just depends on how the story's structured, and I'm also a little bit worried that we're heading for a best of 3 between these two guys, and I kind of just want to see the best of John Cena. Like, the Sami Zayn match on SmackDown was absolutely sick. It was a 5-star match before the interference, and I don't know what story they want to tell. I do have a theory, and I'll put this to you and let me know what you think. So SummerSlam next year is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That is the hometown of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is old. He's getting on a bit. He's been in the business for as long as John Cena has, right? Like, they almost came in pretty much around the same time. Within months of each other, they made their debuts. So he's been in the business for 23 years. The story that I would like them to tell, Dion, is that, because we need a reason why. Why is Brock attacking John Cena? And the story I would like them to tell is Brock Lesnar saying, it made me sick sitting back at home on my ranch in Toronto or Saskatoon or wherever it is that he's from in Canada, watching this John Cena retirement tour. I'm a bigger name than John Cena. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm announcing my retirement at SummerSlam in front of my home crowd in Minnesota next year. This is my moment. It's not John Cena's moment. I'm going to make this a nightmare for John Cena. And we need a reason. Why are you attacking John Cena? Oh, I just don't like him. I need something more than that. Like, I need you to tell. Brock needs a better reason than I just don't like him. Like, why did you come back? You know, like, so. I saw the Minneapolis announcement, and I was just like, well, that could be a good storyline and a reason why Brock has come back and targeted John Cena on this retirement.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and it does make a lot of sense. But I also think Brock Lesnar is one of those guys that arguably doesn't need a story. He just beats people up because he's Brock Lesnar, and
I get it.
I think what we're going to see in this match is going to be shades of SummerSlam 2014. You remember that match where Brock Lesnar just wiped the floor with John Cena? Cena hardly got any.
It was a squash.
It was a squash, and it was such an amazing match because of it. I think we're probably going to see the same sort of thing, but with Cena coming up and battling from underneath and somehow claiming that wins and losses at this stage aren't terribly important for John Cena, of course, but hey, we're going to see what it's going to be. But either way,
it depends on what their plans are with Brock. He ain't taking the 3 if the plans are for him to go after Cody or
he's getting
whatever.
That TKO money.
Yeah,
he's getting that TKO money. He could do anything.
Is. I just that's what I love about wrestling, Dion, is we don't know the plans, right? Mm-hmm. This could be Brock one and done for all we know, right? Like to push a rating, to get some hype. So yeah, let's see what happens. I think it's best for business that Cena gets the win, and I don't want to see him lose again on this retirement tour until his last match.
Yeah, man, wait and see. Wrestlepalooza is going to be fantastic. All right, well, with that said, we need to kick into part 2 of our interview with Bea Priestley. That's coming up straight after the break.
12 months is a very long time in the world. Sometimes it's not, though. And I think just over a year ago, maybe 14 months ago, you had a very special experience when you got to wrestle at the Mecca that is Madison Square Garden in a triple threat match with the wonderful Indy Hartwell and the equally wonderful Naomi. Tell us about that, wrestling at the G, as they say, the MSG, which is heaven for a lot of pro wrestling fans.
Yeah, that was actually my SmackDown debut as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was really cool. The experience was great. I actually got given by the venue staff. They gave me like a Tiffany & Co. like plaque of like Madison Square Garden that said, "Thank you, Blair Davenport." You know, because they every time it's someone's first time in the venue, they give them a gift. And
that is cool.
Yeah, we got. Yeah, I mean, I think Nia was really funny because she was like, "You guys got Tiffany & Co. I got a bloody cap when I showed debuted here." But I think it was it was like me, maybe, I don't know if Indy got one, maybe Tiffany got one as well, because I don't think she'd been in Madison. But yeah, it was like these like these plaques with like New York like engraved into it with your name on it, everything. So that was really, really nice. I've still got it at home actually. But yeah, it was like one of those things. I mean, the venue itself, getting to the venue is a nightmare because there's nowhere to park. You have to, I think I showed up with, me and Mello went together. We had to Uber in, and they had to drop us almost on the side of the road. So obviously, me and Mello getting out of a taxi, we're just like a spotlight. All these fans just turned, and we're like, "Oh no!" And it's weird because, like I said, I hadn't even had a match, but they all knew who I was, and Mello was only just drafted with me as well. So we were both like pretty new, and they were like security with like for the venue security and WWE security, like essentially like ushering us to the door. But there was just it was like a swarm, like something out of like a zombie film.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, turning up to an event with Mallow Hayes is kind of cool though, right? Like,
oh yeah, Mellow's chill. We used to the first few months of your contract, they the WWE kind of like pay for your rental cars and stuff in your hotels just so you can get in the routine, and then after that you kind of book that stuff on your own. But then me and Mello used to, like, because we were always in the same hotels, we used to just like travel together. But I know Mello's a really, really sound dude. He's really cool.
Yeah,
he's a good dude.
Underutilized a little bit, if you ask me. But hey, I'm just an average fan.
He has to tag with the Miz. That's my dream. So
hey, look, and Mello don't miss. One of the coolest tag team names I think I've ever heard. What did an average sort of week look like for you when you're on that brand? Because Smackdown Friday nights US time. So what did the week look like? You were doing live shows and all that sort of stuff as well? Did you go to Raw, for instance? Like, how did that work when you're on one side of the roster?
No. So I only go SmackDown. So it would be like I'd leave on a Thursday, come back Saturday. So away for 2 nights. But then WWE's a weird one because you never know when you're going to be called in to do something. Because sometimes, like, I'm really good friends with Lyra, and there'll be sometimes, obviously, Lyra's put on Raw. And then there'll be times where she'd be like, "Oh, well, I'm doing SmackDown this week, so I've got a speed match," or I'm doing a segment on SmackDown because it's Queen of the Ring and she was, involved in that. Or so there'd be times when like you never really feel like what time is yours, because at any minute they can ring you and be like, "Oh, you're going to NXT tomorrow to do this segment with this person," or "We need you to fly straight from SmackDown to Raw because someone's got hurt." And I think that happened. I think there was one SmackDown. I think I might have just had like a backstage or something, but then I get to the venue and Apollo was supposed to do the dark match, but he wasn't medically cleared. I think it wasn't anything serious. It was just like something that they were like, "Oh, you should probably rest today." So they came to me and Tegan. They're like, "Right, you guys need to do the SmackDown dark match tonight." They're like, "Oh, okay, cool." But I didn't expect to have a match that day. I just expected to, go to get my hair and makeup done, eat some food, and do my little backstage. So I was like, okay, so, always bring your gear. You never know when you're going to need it. But yeah, it was the schedule was okay, to be fair. It was just when Orlando Airport gets a lot of travel delays. I think a lot of airports in America do now. So there'd be some times where I know me and Piper, we used to travel a lot together because we've been friends for a long time. And there'd be times where we'd be sitting in the airport for 10 hours waiting to see, because a flight's got delayed or it's been moved, and we're just there waiting to see, are we even leaving today, or are we going to have to get a flight at 6 a.m.? And there was one time we were in the airport till 1 a.m. and we did get put on a 6 a.m. flight. So I went home for like 2 or 3 hours of sleep to then 6 a.m. flight, get it to the hotel, literally drop your stuff off, and then goes to the venue. But it's not as the regular flights, I think, do play a little bit of a toll on your body, but it's also it's nothing that we can't handle also.
And this was a dream.
It comes with the job,
right? This was a dream to get into the main roster. Do you think you had time to sort of sit and reflect and say I've done it, I've made it, or it's just so hectic that it's just on to the next day?
So I think when I got drafted, that was the point. I was like, oh my God, I've done it. Like that was it. And it was alluded to me. I wasn't told, but it was alluded to me that I was getting drafted. I think I was one of the few ones that was like a definite. I think Lyra was a total surprise. Like that's what when she got drafted, she was almost in shock herself. She was like, what? I think Ilya, I don't think Ilya knew, but I think Ilya probably did know, because he was like, what more can I really do here? Same with Mello. I think Mello, not expecting it, but just kind of had a feeling that something was going to happen.
Right.
I think at that point, I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, but what if I don't get drafted as well? So there was that, and I was the very last pick of the whole weekend. So there were parts of me being like, oh, maybe they changed their mind, just because it was alluded to me by like Coach Bloom and by the head writer. They didn't tell me, but it was just like little comments were made.
That's interesting. Can we jump into that? 'Cause I'm trying to remember when you were drafted. I think I don't remember if it was a graphic on screen or if it was announced online.
I think there was an NXT shot, wasn't there?
It was they had the SmackDown draft on the Friday, and then they had the Raw draft, but then there was a show, it was like Raw Talk, and after Raw Talk they had like a couple extra people, and I was the only NXT person on that Raw Talk, but they didn't let us leave because they're like, no, there's some more people in the Raw Talk after Raw. So we had to watch all of Raw, then we had to sit around for the talk show at the end.
So literally you didn't know that, you thought it might not be coming?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no, I might have been on Raw and Dijak was on the talk after Raw. It might have been the other way around. But yeah, I was literally the last pick of the night, out of like anyone getting drafted on Raw or SmackDown or NXT. So, and then I think Dijak was the talk show afterwards, but I was last one on Raw. So it was just one of those things like, and then because Kiana and Larry had been drafted, in my head I was like, oh, they probably chose Kiana instead of me if they want to heal. Like Kiana's great. So it was one of those things I was like, oh, maybe they just changed their mind. Maybe they want to keep me here a bit longer. So that's why I was always like, crying, because I was almost like, couldn't believe it, but I was almost happy with it. And I was always relieved as well. It was like a wave of emotions because I'm having this little argument in my head. Well, not argument, but like, this doubt battle in my mind.
Totally understandable. And look, feel free to answer this how you wish. And as a fan watching like draft call-ups, NXT call-ups, sometimes it looks like they have an obvious plan, as in creative. Sometimes they don't. And I know that and at times it looked like you were being pushed in a good direction. I think there was talk that maybe you might have been involved in Chelsea's group towards the back end of that, but it never felt like they had a direction for you. Like, do you guys notice that when you get called up that, hey, it's great being up here, but do you guys actually know what you want to do with me?
Well, that was essentially what happened, because I mean, this isn't going to sound how I mean it to sound, because I'm very, very happy for all of my friends. You know what I mean? It's not like a bitterness. It's just a reflection.
It's your experience.
My experience, yeah.
You lived it.
Obviously, yeah. So Kiana and Lyra go to Raw, and I'm the only girl going to SmackDown. And SmackDown, you're lucky if you get 2 girls matches on one SmackDown anyway, but it's just because like SmackDown is only 2 hours, at least at the time, and Raw's 3. So you get an extra hour of screen time, which is a long time, and, then like obviously Lyra straight away is doing all the Queen of the Ring tournament and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome for her. And then they did have some idea with me, but then like 2 weeks after I got moved to SmackDown, the head writer got changed to a different head writer. So all of my initial conversations weren't known anymore. Mm-hmm. And the general writer that I had, she'd only just been promoted to a writer. So I think she was a little bit worried to kind of like push for me because she was new herself in that role. So I think she was just kind of going with the flow rather than being like, hey, why don't we do something with B here? You know what I mean? Like, no disrespect to anyone, because like, I get it. I was the same going to SmackDown. I'm like, I'm not going to step on anyone's toes. I'm just going to do as I'm told, because I'm new here. So yeah, but there were times when I was just like, I don't know what's going on. There were talks about if I was gonna tag with Isla and Alba and us be a trios in that unholy union thing, because we were doing triple threat matches against Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. So they were like, oh, we can, maybe you're going to go to Raw, or maybe they're going to come to SmackDown. That was a conversation. They were saying we might put you with these guys, but we're not sure. And then it got to the end of the year, and I had a triple threat with Bianca and Chelsea for United States Women Tournament. And that was actually my last match I had.
Right.
And then, I was there. I did a backstage with Piper in January, and that was alluding to me doing the stuff with Chelsea and Piper in the Secret Service thing. And I had, basically, I was told I was going to be on the Europe tour in March. I had all my flights, everything. Like, TR came to me and was like, yep, you're going to be super busy. You're doing all the stuff with Chelsea and Piper. So, get ready for it. They, I had one of the writers come to me talking to us about what they want me and Piper to be wearing, how they want us to behave, like all the gimmicks, all this stuff. Like, it was happening. They said in 2 weeks, we're going to be doing Chelsea and Mitchin. You're coming in, costing Mitchin, joining Chelsea. That was exactly how they did it with Alba. And I was like, cool. And then 6 days later, I don't have a job.
Oh, man. Do you, when that happens, though, B, is it must be frustrating because there was obviously this plan in place, but I do wonder if that disappointment of losing what was the dream job is pretty quickly replaced, knowing your personality, with, cool, all right, well, now on to the next thing. I'm going back to Japan.
I literally said that on the phone as well. So I think basically because Tegan and Indy got let go in October, and I was actually on holiday in New Zealand when that happened, and I really just wanted to switch off from wrestling because I was only able to get 6 days. So it was a really rapid trip home, and I hadn't been back in New Zealand since 2020. So I was craving to go home basically and see family. And that happened the day after I landed. So I think when that happened, I almost already kind of emotionally prepared, because I knew that I'm self-aware enough to kind of see my own situation. I'm not oblivious to the fact I wasn't getting booked a lot. There's only so much time that they're going to see how much I'm getting paid on paper and see how much work I've done, and then kind of be like, well, she's costing us more money than she's actually earning us. So, right. I'm not oblivious to how business works. So when I got the call, I was like, I was just a name on a piece of paper. It was it was just after the Rumble, so they'd re-signed people to big contracts. They need to make that money back somehow. And there were I think 12 people fired on my cuts. And I think, he basically was just like, oh, I'm really sorry, due to budget cuts, this, that, and that. And I was like, oh, no worries. Thank you for the opportunity. And that was it. And I think I even ended the call on him. It wasn't bitter. I was just like, I don't need a big explanation, know. And then I was just like, okay, on to the next thing. And I think Stardom actually reached out 10 minutes after it got announced on Twitter.
Wow. That's insane. Yeah. That's fantastic, but insane. But mostly fantastic.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no point in burning bridges, right? Because you don't know what's just around the corner. I mean, who'd have ever thought that CM Punk was going to end up back in WWE, right? But things happened and he did. But given the current landscape of wrestling, and I look at people like Steph DeLander and Matt Cardona that have made really amazing successes for themselves on the independent scene. Cody did it before them, and Drew Galloway, Drew McIntyre did it before Cody. So, it's not just AEW and WWE. There's TNA as well, but you can go to Japan. You can go to the wrestling boom in Mexico is huge at the moment. So do you feel like there is literally 1,000 open doors that you could potentially walk through and probably make more money than you were making in WWE potentially from a living standpoint?
Well, I technically am at this point.
There you go.
But basically, I am contracted now with Stardom full time. So I definitely everyone knows, it's no secret. Stardom's always been a home to me. I think I want I want everyone to know about this company. So I was not that I'm not the spokesperson for the Western culture or anything, but I do have sometimes people telling me, oh, I watch Stardom now because you do it, because they're WWE people who keep following me. And they're like, oh, we didn't even know what this was. So even if it's an extra 1 or 2 people, it's extra people, then they can tell someone about it, or you know what I mean? It's just like a little bit something. But I do think the girls here, I don't think people realize how good they actually are. Like, there's a reason why, you know, people like Giulia goes to NXT for 4 months and then she's on SmackDown, or Io. And, you know, Io was my trainer when I first came to Stardom. So, or like people like Kyrie and, you know, Asuka trained, you know, half the roster that's currently on Stardom. So, you know what I mean? They're all like proper, like wrestlers, and they wrestle just as good as the boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you know, I started this interview by saying it feels like the best is yet to come. I mean, very recently, you defeated the World of Stardom champion, right? Saya Kamitani. So we know there is a lot coming your way, not just in Japan, I'm sure everywhere else. But you've been so generous with your time. We really, really appreciate it. But before we let you go, there are a couple of things we want to know about you. We're asking people, wrestlers all over the world, these questions. It's interesting to compare notes. First question I have for you is, what TV series are you currently watching?
Do you know what? So I get, I think it's an anxiety thing. I tend to rewatch the same things a lot. But it's not a series, but there's like, it's like a 3-piece documentary thing. And I think it's called like either Fit for TV or Fat for TV.
Oh, yes.
I was literally watching that before you guys called.
Is that about The Biggest Loser?
Yeah.
So good. Watched it the other day. Yeah. Great show. Yes.
Because I knew what The Biggest Loser kind of was, but not really, because, you know, I didn't grow up watching American TV. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, what's this? And I like fitness stuff and all that kind of thing. So anything where it was to do like fitness or health, I get quite intrigued with. So I was watching that. But otherwise, you know, I like all those, you know, that Monster series that they did, the Dharma one and the Menendez brothers one.
Oh, yes, yeah.
They've got the Ed Gein coming on October, so I know that's going to be a binge. And I really want to watch that Alien Earth that's come out on, it's basically the TV series of Alien. But me and my husband have vowed that we have to watch it together, so I've got to wait until I go home on Monday to watch it.
I'm already picturing your the recommended for you feed on your Netflix. I can already see what's popping up. Describe your perfect day.
Oh no. I've got 2 dogs at home. I very much enjoy spending time with them. So probably taking them for a little roam, seeing some of their silly shenanigans. And then, I don't know, I think because wrestling's so hectic, when I'm at home, I like quiet. Although I do love like a British pub. I'm always sold if someone says, let's go to the pub. So yeah, probably something including the dogs, maybe, you know, some kind of like hot pot food or lots of steak or something. I like red meat a lot. And then probably finishing with watching some kind of horror film in the evening. We have like a little cinema room upstairs in the house at the minute. And it's just like a landing, but it's completely blacked out because they're all bedroom doors upstairs, so there's no windows. So we've got a projector in there and like a reclining couch. So it's like a little movie room.
Perfect.
So we put, yeah. So that's good. It's better than the movies, actually.
Now, when your career is over, how will you define as success?
I think success is, personal to the person. And I think no matter what, even if, you know, I retire tomorrow, I can always look and be like, well, I said I've achieved what I wanted to achieve from this. I achieved every goal, at least that I set my eyes on when I was 14. And not many people can say that they've got to live their dream that was essentially like a childhood fantasy, you know. And, you know, it's like, oh, I didn't achieve everything that I would have wanted to achieve with WWE, but I got to those points that I, you know, wanted to get to. And plus a little bit extra everywhere else I went as well. So I think regardless if I stopped tomorrow, I would still view my career as a success to myself when I was 14.
Brilliant. But you've had such an incredible career so far, and it's been fascinating speaking with you about it and reliving all of the plot points of your career. And again, I can't help but feel that we could probably have another chat like this in 5, 10, 15 years, and man, there'll be some stories to tell. And again, I'm sure
there'll be something.
The best absolutely is yet to come. Thank you so much for your time. Everybody, Bea Priestley.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, welcome back, everybody. There it is, part 2 of our interview with Bea Priestley. Man, she was a lot of fun to talk to, Brad.
Yeah, just so giving in her time, and I'm sure we'll have her back on the show again. Just my biggest take out of that is I think Bea is completely happy in her own self being in Stardom, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see her in a big US wrestling market again. I think she's pretty happy where she's at. I mean, we might see her sort of a cameo in a Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal in AEW or something, but she to me seems really, really happy where she's at, content. And you can tell how much she loves Japan.
Yeah, absolutely. It also feels like she's one of those people that, whatever she wants to get after, she's going to get it. She's going to get it. So,
like I said, hey, look, the Eliminator 2020, 2026 IPW, make it happen.
See if we can talk her into that one. All right, with that, let's head into the hot tag. Kicking things off on the hot tag this week, Clash in Paris. 30,000 rabid fans in Paris, France. That stadium looked amazing. Do you know what? TKO and WWE have gotten a bit of a bad rap as of late for having boring sets. And we grew up watching the Attitude Era where set design was sometimes hokey, but always interesting.
Like Backlash. Do you remember Backlash with the King of the Ring sets, Halloween Havoc? Yeah,
Halloween
like Bash at the
Havoc.
Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we've got these mega screens, so that the sets are just generally graphics. But Clash in Paris looked great. Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. How good was this match for Bronson Reed's career?
Important. Mentioned it earlier in the show, Dion. Just important for him to hang with a guy like Roman. I thought Roman was extremely giving in this match. Just thinking about Roman, man, feel like the dude has no ego. He's happy to give what he needs to give. I was expecting, actually, Bronson to go over, but once the post-match stuff happened, it made a lot more sense. We're clearly, Dion, we are building towards Roman Reigns and Braun Breaker at some point. I don't know if they can be patient enough to hold that till Mania next year. But that absolutely is where we're going. I'd imagine that we're going to see most of those guys involved in War Games potentially at some point. A version of the Vision with like our biggest babyface stars in Roman and Punk and Cody and that. I think we're going to have something like that happen at Survivor Series, but not a coming out party for Bronson Reed because I think he's already established, but it showed that he can hang, and I think full credit to Roman for being as giving as he is. I just feel like Bron needs a big win. Bronson Reed, he needs a big win where a clean win over an established top star. Don't know how we get to that, but that's something that I really hope that they work towards.
Yeah. You'd think with them being the lackeys in the Vision at the moment, it's all about Seth. But you're quite right that big marquee one-on-one win is so important. But
give them the tag team titles and have them just run roughshod over the tag team division. I don't know. We Bronson needs wins, just to keep that momentum going. Braun Breaker is fantastic. Bronson just needs to win big matches.
Yeah. And speaking of being able to hang, man, Logan Paul, you got to give this guy credit. First off, John Cena's retirement tour, Cena is knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
He would lead us to believe that he's missing a step. I can't see it.
No.
He's hitting it out of the park time and time again, and it reminds me of that the line in the Toby Keith song that you hear every now and then. I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. Well, Cena's good every outing at the moment. All of these matches are must-see. And again, Logan Paul, unbelievable.
He is a freak. He is a future world champ. People need to realize that. He's an unbelievable entertainer. He's athletic. He's charismatic. He is going to be, he is a superstar of this business. And just stop and think for a sec, folks. He's had less than 30 matches in his life, less than 25 matches. I think he's at 24 now. He's unbelievable. And he's the sort of guy where he can lose and still keep his heat, right? So the right message was sent with Cena winning. I do think, get your points on this, I kind of think Cena's heel turn has clouded people's judgment of the first half of this year. But if you look at it, the Cody Mania match was not good. right? Like we know that
Yeah.
it was not a good match. The storytelling wasn't there. But aside from that, the chamber match was excellent that he was involved in. His stuff in the Rumble was great. He had a banger with Orton, which was like a real callback to a lot of the stuff those guys had did before. He had a couple of fun matches with R-Truth. He had a really good tag team match where him and Logan Paul were teamed up. He had an absolute 5-star match of the year candidate with Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Probably John Cena's greatest ever match, in my humble opinion. If not one, it's certainly 2 or 3. And bats it out of the park in the last 7 days with Logan Paul and Sami Zayn. Like, you're right. He's having a great run. I just think people have been blinded by the heel turn, which let's be honest, was below average from a character standpoint. But his in-ring work in this final year of his career has been outstanding.
Yeah, every time he's gotten into that ring, it's been absolute magic. Now, there's a rumor going around that Sami Zayn could be your next Royal Rumble winner. Sami Zayn, of course, recently winning the United States Championship. Some people saying that this is a test run for a possible World Championship run.
Yeah.
Do we feel that Sami Zayn is up for winning the Royal Rumble? When you think about it, he's got a somewhat complex cultural association with Saudi Arabia. The Royal Rumble is in Saudi. In some ways, he's kind of a local guy. Could he go on to win the Rumble? Could he win the World Championship? I think back to a Kofi Kingston or even a Daniel Bryan come WrestleMania 30. I think the answer might be yes.
Maybe. It's going to be weird, first of all, just popping in the top of my head, is watching 30 women wearing fully clothed head-to-toe gear. That's going to be strange.
It may be a greatest Royal Rumble. There might be 50.
Yeah. Will Sami Zayn be the Royal Rumble winner? I can see it happening. There's a long-term storyline there with Seth, right? And but man, it's a long field, Dion. There's so many stories. I could see Jacob Fatu winning the Royal Rumble, and if Roman, I think Roman gets to Mania potentially as champ. And even if he doesn't, there's a story there for Roman to meet Cody for the 3rd time at WrestleMania. So Roman wins the Rumble. And look, I think Punk and Seth are going to be locked in now. I think we'll probably end up seeing their feud sort of round out at maybe Royal Rumble time. We might see a one-on-one match there, and then whoever wins that, I guess that's going to judge. If Rollins comes out of that as champion, then I can see absolutely Sami Zayn winning the title, but winning the Rumble. But he's not my favorite. I'm kind of leaning towards Roman. I think that's where we're heading. We're either heading to Roman versus Seth or Roman versus Cody at Mania. That's where I'd have the bag at the moment, but I think Jacob Fatu's a really good chance, although he has fizzled out a little bit in recent times. But yeah, he's definitely in the top 5 or 6, but I'm not sure I'm there yet with those rumors. We'll see how it plays out. Big title reign for him at the moment with the US title, and it looks like he's going to bring back the Open Challenge, which is awesome.
Yeah, I do at least like that we are in a phase where we just don't know who is going to win the Royal Rumble. There was a while there where there was maybe 3 names at best, usually only 2, and sometimes only 1.
Yeah, it's the same with the woman too. Like, if Liv comes back at the Rumble, could see her winning it. Rhea, Bianca, I think maybe we might get Bianca and Jade, for instance, at Mania next year. So, look, I don't think that's going to be soon enough for Naomi to come back. She's 4 months pregnant, so who knows? Maybe. But yeah, I doubt it. So,
now we spoke about Wrestlepalooza a little bit earlier. We'd spoken last week about it as well, and the fact that AEW All Out was going head-to-head with Wrestlepalooza. Technically the other way around, with Wrestlepalooza being announced second. We heard news this week that Wrestlepalooza's start time has been moved to 3 p.m.
AEW start time, yeah.
AEW start time. It is a smart business move. They had to do it. The problem I have with it is, have we now set a precedent?
Yes.
Where WWE can just go in and say, let's go head to head with AEW. We know Tony's going to move the pay-per-view and maybe miss out on those evening pay-per-view buys. I don't know. I think they had to do it. It was going to be an absolute train wreck otherwise. What do you do if you're Tony Khan?
This is the second time he's done it. They did it for All in Texas, right, where they moved the start time because the Goldberg retirement match was on the same day. So, right. Which WWE announced. Look, Nick Khan, who is the boss of basically Triple H's boss in WWE, he seems like a pretty petty type of dude. And I think many years ago, Tony Khan cut a promo where he said there's only space for one Khan in pro wrestling, and it's Tony Khan. And I think Nick Khan, who's a big Hollywood executive, this dude has made deals beyond deals, may have taken that to heart a little bit. It's a double-edged sword for Tony Khan. he moves the time, and it looks like he's running away from WWE, and we don't have what it takes to win. And he's got some issues at the moment with talent, with Swerve and Ospreay both out. I think that it's huge, and it looks like we're heading for a Kyle Fletcher Hangman sort of main event, and I mean that doesn't excite me really. Like I said last week, I don't think Hangman's the right person to be the champ, but that's for another day. But if he had stayed and gone head to head, Dion, he could have got completely and utterly obliterated. Like, I mean,
there's no could. Yeah, he would have.
And when his biggest advocate, Dave Meltzer, comes out and says he needs to move the time of the pay-per-view, you absolutely know that was the best thing to do for business. From a business standpoint, great move, and probably garners a few extra views, and it's a great day to be a wrestling fan. It's a great day to be. You've got 8 hours of pro wrestling coming to you in a couple of weeks' time on our Sunday afternoon. So that's very, very exciting from a New Zealand pro wrestling standpoint.
And the nostalgia factor of that day. We talked about AJ Lee. We've got Brock Lesnar coming back, and now over in AEW, we've got Edge and Christian, of course, tagging up.
Yeah, against FTR and what's rumored to be the potential final match of the card. So, Cope and Christian, right? Is it Cope? Yeah, Cope.
It's Cope.
Did you see the John Cena tribute to Edge in the Michael Cole's like, that's a tribute to Roman Reigns, and then Corey Graves quickly said, no, mate, it was a tribute to another very controversial Canadian. Shout out to John Cena, who's pulling out some moves from some of his greatest ever adversaries.
Yeah,
there was the Kevin Owens pop-up powerbomb, the Edge spear. So I love what Cena's doing. And there was the
ankle lock.
The Styles Clash as well, a Clash in Paris. So very, very cool. But look, Tony Khan had to do it, Dion. He had to do it. He had no other choice. But you're right. This is going to keep happening. And eventually, he wants to be competition. He calls himself the challenger brand. He's going to have to stand on his own 2 feet and go, screw it. We're going to take you on at your own game.
Yeah. Someone who we are very big fans of here at That Sweet Pop, Dom Mysterio. Now, not only was that Intercontinental Championship win at WrestleMania all time, that crowd was insane.
Yeah.
And they were absolutely there for it. We've got Dom Mysterio now challenging for the Mega Championship of AAA at Worlds Collide, right? And here's a guy, if you were going to pick a WWE superstar to take AAA's #1 championship, Dom Mysterio has to be the guy. Not only has the guy been a heat magnet who the fans absolutely love, but whenever he appears down in AAA, he is as over can be.
He's the biggest babyface in Mexican wrestling right now.
Not bad for a heel.
Yeah.
Is there any way that this guy can stay away from the AAA Mega Championship? Is he going to take this one home?
I believe so. Comment number 1, WWE missed a massive boot by not going with AJ winning the title on Raw in Paris. That crowd was unbelievable. WWE, please send WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble to Paris. Or to France. They absolutely deserve it. And look, from my perspective, have AJ win and then Dom wins the belt back this week on Raw. Like, I have no problem with that, right? Like just do it that way. But AJ Styles, 48 years of age, he deserved that moment in front of a crowd that adored him. That's point number 1.
Paris loves him.
Yeah, absolutely. Point number 2, Dom is a superstar. Make no mistake about it. So much criticism around this dude when he first came into pro wrestling as a Nepo baby, and people were comparing him to like Hook and AEW, who was Taz's boy, and saying this is the better of the boys, if you would. But he has been, to quote AJ Styles, phenomenal. He has managed to go through the go away heat phase. To the point where he was adored at WrestleMania and got one of the biggest pops of the weekend. Does he beat Vikingo for the AAA Mega Championship? I think yes. It makes a lot of sense from a WWE standpoint where they can get that belt on national television in America. People can be introduced to the Mexican product who might not be familiar with it. I know that I think Berto and Angel had the Mega Tag Team titles for a while there. They might still even have them now, and they're on SmackDown. But look, and when the Mexican crowd is cheering a WWE product that they want to see win the title, and Vikingo is He's a babyface he's the Roman Reigns, right? Of 10 years ago in AAA. I think the time is right to crown Dom Mysterio the mega champ and have him start collecting belts, maybe, Dion. But yeah, that card, so they announced some matches for that tonight. It actually looks pretty sick. With the New Day in action against the Psycho Clowns, which should be kind of fun. And there's a big fatal 4-way on there as well, and a sort of 8-man tag showcase. So it looks like it's going to be a great case. And Natty's wrestling on there too.
Yeah.
In her badass MMA type gimmick. So
yeah,
I think it's going to. I think it screens, Dion, correct me if I'm wrong, right after SmackDown next week on Saturday New Zealand time. So you'll have SmackDown between 12 and 2. And then the AAA show will be on YouTube between 2 and 4. So it could be a fun day next Saturday for our wrestling fans here in NZ. What do you think? Is Dom taking the bout?
I think he's taken the belt. I think he has to take the belt. I'm so happy that Dom has come good because, you know, when he first entered WWE, he didn't look like he belonged.
No.
And he was rushed in. But I think for me, the turning point was WrestleMania 39 in that match against his father, that deadbeat dad, Rey Mysterio.
Sick match.
That entrance alone, coming in the county jail van. So good. Fantastic match. He's been on the up and up. I think, you know, often we talk about, will this person become a world champion? Like it's the be all and end all of someone's career. And of course, it's an incredible milestone. But I do think Dom Mysterio will start entering that conversation sometime in the next couple of years. Will he become a world champion at some stage? I don't know.
Lock it down, mate. Yeah. It's going to happen. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know who I am worried about, who may not be in the running for a world championship as soon as I thought they may, is Giulia. Giulia feels lost, and I'm a bit worried about it. I'm a bit worried because I like Giulia. She's very, very clearly one of the most athletic women on the roster. She comes with an incredible history behind her.
Yeah.
There was a lot of momentum as well when she came in. Did well in NXT. But it seems like she's just not connecting. And obviously that's why Kiana James has been paired with her. Can they save Giulia? Yes, I know she's the US Women's Champion. She's getting television time. I just felt like in a roster that is so overburdened with talent, so much talent, so difficult to get to the top of the heap, I really felt Giulia was going to get there a lot sooner than this. Do I just need to be patient?
I share your worry. I think creative needs to take the hit here. Love Mia Yim, the former Mia Yim, what she brings. Not the right person to bring out the best in Giulia. Now, I don't know if you watched her work in NXT, but her stuff that she did with Jordan Grace and Stephanie Vaquer was tremendous. And you know how Shawn Michaels got her over? He just had her wrestle 20-minute matches. That's how he got Giulia over. And she was epically awesome in NXT. So, look, Triple H is a big fan of Giulia. He's talked about how she's the future of the business along with Stephanie Vaquer. So, look, I just think give her a little bit of time, see how this Kiana James stuff sort of plays out, but pair her with the right people. Like, and I know she's a heel right now, so you need to find a willing babyface. I don't know who that babyface is because the SmackDown roster is struggling for women's babyfaces right now, where I think, you know, Tiff and Jade are the top two, and Jade is a tweener. She's a borderline heel. So I don't know if you need to move some people around, bring someone up from NXT, but she needs a willing partner who's going to bring the best out of her, both in the ring and out of the ring. I don't think Michin's that person. They just need to figure out who that is. Like, mate, I think we're a couple of promos away from turning Chelsea Green babyface. Like, you know, she'd be a good partner for her. Look, I guess I'm clutching at straws a bit because I really want to see her do well. Look, Alexa and Charlotte are on there. Maybe you put her in a tag program with those two, with her and Kiana. But in fact, Alexa would be perfect. And imagine a Giulia Charlotte match. It'd be off the hook. You just got
the problem though.
Or Bianca comes back. Yeah, maybe Bianca comes back, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see where she ends up. But yeah, such a great wrestler. She'll get there. Charismatic. She walks out and she's very charismatic. Got a great entrance. But yeah, let the wrestling do the talking. Give us some 20-minute matches against some good opponents. And yeah, I think she'll get over. I just throw this out to you. Is Shawn Michaels better at booking women's wrestling than Paul Levesque? Because I think he is. Because the NXT women's division has been lit since Shawn Michaels took over the pen.
Interesting point. Yeah, interesting point. I think that the biggest issue I see with the women's division is it's just so damn good because the talent pool is so huge. And how do you give enough time to all of these talented women? And you've got someone like Giulia who could be a big fish in a small pond elsewhere. Now she's a medium fish in a pretty massive pond, and it's hard to get to the top. It's just hard. I think she's going to be okay. Again, I probably just need to be patient. I hope she does find tremendous success. But there's so many others that I want to find that tremendous success as well.
Yeah, and like you said, it's absolutely stacked. I mean, Rhea's only been champ for about 5 weeks in the last 3 years, Dion. So, you know, like, and she's the biggest name in the company.
It's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. Brad, can
Yes, Dion.
I ask you a question?
Mate, I am full of answers. Bring them.
Who am I? I was born in 1951 in Seattle, Washington.
Jeepers, we're going back some time. Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Oh, cut it out!
Yes!
That is good. I knew if anything that was going to give it away. From Seattle, Washington.
I'm the man! Yes!
Do you want to hear a few more of the clues?
That needs to go viral. Yes, please, please, please.
Well, I first stepped into the ring in the early 1970s, learning my craft in places like Detroit, Florida, and Jim Crockett Promotions. By the mid-70s, I had already had a name for myself, battling legends across North America before arriving on the biggest stage. In 1984, I entered the World Wrestling Federation. From there, I became a champion holding the Intercontinental title and the World Tag Team titles. You know the rest, the figure 4 leg lock. He was slow, he was methodical. They called
the brace on the leg. The hammer.
I will never forget it. Yeah. It wasn't the hammer jammer.
No,
it was a shin
one.
protector. That's it. Yeah. It was the shin protector. And of course, the gimmick was that he had to wear the shin protector to protect an injury. Yeah. But it enhanced the power of his figure 4 leg lock until he came across Rugged Ronnie Garvin, who wore the hammer jammer.
Can I just pop in on that? Rugged Ronnie Garvin versus Greg the Hammer Valentine at the 1990 Royal Rumble is one of the most undercover, forgotten about best matches I have ever seen. That match was so good. The storytelling was brilliant. And look, if you're an old school wrestling fan, go back and watch that match. That crowd actually was absolutely jacked for that event. It was every single wrestler that came down the chute during the Rumble got a massive pop.
That's a great Rumble.
Even the Red Rooster got a big pop when he came out, as an example. But that match is so good between, people forget, Rugged Ronnie Garvin beat Ric Flair for the NWA title at Starrcade in like 1983 or something. He was a huge name that came to WWE, I want to say in the late 1988. Never really took off, but had a great feud with Greg the Hammer Valentine, which was his sweet spot in WWE through the late part of 89 and into 1990. And that match was so good, Dion. It's one of my favorite matches of all time. Just really enjoyed the storytelling, the hammer jammer, and then Greg going to the old Jesse the Body sort of torture rack that he did and stuff. A great match. But yeah, Greg the Hammer Valentine, you're right. See, I think if you had your time back, Mr. McCracken, you may have sort of started off and then with the other stuff, and then halfway through, I was famous for being from Seattle, Washington, and then it would have been, that's Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Do you know what's interesting? I've told many people this. My knowledge of geography in the United States comes almost exclusively
from wrestling.
Yes,
from Sarasota, Florida.
Well, what about Cobb County, Georgia?
Yes, the big boss man. Yes, indeed. From Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Oh, Jake the Snake, of course.
Yeah, from San Francisco, California. He was on our show a couple of weeks ago. The old Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
It's everywhere.
Absolutely. Nowadays, what is it? Pensacola, Florida, I think. But you're right. Pro wrestling and its geography. There's definitely a link there. But Greg the Hammer Valentine, man, he wasn't the greatest promo in the world, but man, could that boy go. And the famous Gorilla Monsoon quote, or it might have been Jesse the Body Ventura. Yeah. He takes 20 minutes before he gets warmed up. You knew a Greg the Hammer Valentine match was going a long time.
All right, new rule: no more geography. No more geography.
That's got to go viral, man. I nailed that. Nailed it.
Well done. All right, we're going to wrap things up right after this break on this episode of That Sweet Pop. All right, welcome back to That Sweet Pop. Brad.
Have I gone viral yet?
No, not yet, but who came from deepest, darkest Africa?
Oh, that'd be the African Dream, Akeem.
Oh, how good. How good.
Yes. All right. Who came from Venice Beach? Actually, there's two of them. Venice Beach, California.
Well, Hulk Hogan. Who's the second one from Venice Beach, California? Oh, Superstar. No, Superstar Billy Graham.
He's a man called Sting.
All right, Robbinsdale, Minnesota.
That is Ravishing Rick Rude.
It is the ravishing one.
From the Fiji Islands.
Oh, it's got to be Jimmy, the Superfly Snooker. You'll never get this one, though.
Okay.
Who lived
Yes.
in Parts Unknown?
Oh. Axe and Smash Demolition.
And little known fact, they lived right next door to the Ultimate Warrior in Parts Unknown.
They did. Now,
always got their mail mixed up.
I've got a question for you, Dion. It's not who am I, but did you ever record yourself or practice trying to be Howard Finkel?
I don't believe so, but maybe I did.
I did.
Excellent.
Yeah, I tried to put on my best Howard Finkel.
Oh, he's a tough one.
Maybe we can run a comp where people can voice memo us their best Howard Finkel impersonations because he is the GOAT ring announcer. The GOAT. Yeah. There is no one better than him.
He is WrestleMania. All right, Brad, let's look ahead. What's coming up in the weeks to come?
All right, mate. Well, we've talked about it a little bit today. Wrestlepalooza. September 20 is going to be Christmas for wrestling fans. AEW All Out Sunday, September 21, New Zealand time, from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's predicted that Cope and Christian will main event that card against FTR, the best tag team in the business, in my humble opinion. Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. Ricochet and the GOA versus the Hurt Syndicate, and Mercedes Monea up against Riho, who returned to AEW on the weekend. A couple of other matches expected to be announced soon, including Hangman versus Kyle Fletcher. And later that day, excuse me, in the evening, afternoon our time, will be Wrestlepalooza. 2 official matches as we speak and record this. Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer, which will be a banger, let's be honest. And John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. Expect Punk and his wife versus Seth and his wife to be added to that. And hang on,
why do you say it that way, Brad? You're going to get us cancelled. Why aren't you saying
expect Becky and her husband, versus AJ Lee and her husband to be announced for that as well. And maybe Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. I would expect WWE are going to want to load that card as much huge as possible. Next week, right after SmackDown, September 12th, is September 13th, New Zealand time, I beg your pardon, is Worlds Collide, which is main evented by Vikingo versus Dominic Mysterio for the AAA Mega Championship.
Dom.
It's their version of the Heavyweight World Championship, isn't it, Dion? The Mega Championship. Natalia in action as well. The New Day in action. Lola Vice is in action. The Judgment Day. Dragon Lee's on there. JD McDonough, the man with the biggest head in pro wrestling. It should be an absolutely tremendous card. And on the 20th of September, Dion, is the highlight, I think, for a lot of people in IPW fans anyway. The Eliminator and Fans Bring the Weapons are the 2 big marquee events for IPW every year, and Fans Bring the Weapons, no exception to that, from the spiritual home of IPW, which is the Mount Albert War Memorial Hall. The tag team match is the main event of that card. It's the New Blood versus the SAS. Hey, just quickly before I go along, got to give credit out to Will Stone, of course, who retired not that long ago. I think he had issues with his eyes, and he's obviously gone away and done a lot of medical work. And he is, to me, one of the best characters in IPW. And talk about holding on to your gimmick. He even does the fingers to me as I'm walking out the door, Dion, and I have to respect that. Great match, Will.
What do you mean working? What do you mean working the gimmick? Will Stone tells me he does not like you. Said that, Brad Lewis. I do not like him.
He doesn't like my daughter either, because he tells me I'm a bad parent because he's a horrible child. So, Will, if you're listening, mate, hold on to that gimmick. You are sensational.
Yeah, he's a good
and on
man.
the 13th of September, this is going to be a hell of a card, and I'm sure you're going, aren't you, Dion?
September 13.
Grassroots Live, Mackay Stadium, Whangarei. Couple of cool matches been announced recently. Liam Erickson, the big Viking, up against Kurt Brown. Also, the tag team titles, Wild Hunt have put an open challenge out to any tag team in New Zealand, which there's a few of yous, so that should be exciting as well. And there's a couple of other matches on that card as well. It should be really good. Mackay Stadium, familiarize me with that. How big is this? Where the Whangarei Northland Taniwha play?
No, Mackay
No?
Stadium, here's a little known fact, and by little known, I mean nobody knows it except for me, was
Yes.
the location of my very first concert, Ice
Oh.
House, back in 1986.
Ice House.
It's an indoor stadium. It's where we have a lot of basketball and a big gym and a big park is connected to it. Great venue, perfect venue to get a big crowd along. So I think Aotearoa Wrestling going to do really well there. There's a lot of buzz around Whangarei around it.
Yeah, and if you guys want to find out where to get tickets, it's all available on both the IPW Facebook page and also the Aotearoa Wrestling Facebook page as well, Dion.
Perfect. Brad, if it's okay with you, I'd like to take the Tu Meke Trophy this week.
The floor,
Not for myself.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Not for myself, of course. I'd like to award it. Now, here's the thing. I've spoken an inordinate amount of smack about the French in the past. If you'll indulge me, in fact, I often call them the French.
Les Frogs.
Now, the French, as an All Blacks fan, as a passionate All Blacks fan, I can't look past the 1999 semi-final, the 2007 quarterfinal. I did love the V against the Haka in 2011. That really
Sebastian
set the tone for that
Chabal.
match. So good. I'm still nervous from that match, and it finished 12 years ago, 13, 14 years ago. So that was the good thing they did, beating us in the Rugby World Cup, not so much. But the thing that also annoys me is how they can make everything sound so sexy, Brad. This is why I don't like the French, generally, as a general rule. But I give credit where credit is due, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt.
Croissants.
No, it's not to croissants. They are amazing.
All right, sorry.
But the French wrestling public are the greatest wrestling crowd in the world. We've got it once again. Congratulations, the French wrestling public,
Hands
winning
down.
the Tu Meke Trophy this week. We knew it watching Backlash in 2024. They cemented it this time around. Unbelievable, the scenes this week. And not only of Europe known for these incredible crowds, but for France to take it one step further is just so good. It really makes these shows, doesn't it, Brad?
It's not even up for debate. There's no one that can argue with you. The French crowd is the best, and WWE owes it to Paris or Lyon or wherever they want to go in France. I mean, you could go to the PSG arena and have a Royal Rumble, a WrestleMania, or SummerSlam, or a Survivor Series there. They need a top 4 tentpole event. They absolutely deserve it. I'd love to see it. Would love to see it.
Yeah, I think maybe we just will, but it still pains me because they're the French. That's all right. Hey guys, if you want to find out a little bit more about who we are, what we do, head along to our website www.thatsweetpop.com. Of course, you can catch us on YouTube if you're not watching already. Please like, subscribe so you can see our pretty faces and hear a little bit more from us. Or if you're on the go, you can listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to miss us on socials as well. TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. We throw up some exclusive clips here and there. Brad, it's been another good show. I'm still buzzing from the return of AJ Lee. Have you stopped crying yet?
A little bit. I'm actually more buzzing from the fact that I got Greg the Hammer Valentine from 3 words.
Well, we'll see if that makes the final edit. We'll just have to see, Brad.
Bloody better.
Well, that's all from us, folks. Another great show. We appreciate you spending your time with us, and we hope you can join us again next week. But until then, have a good one, everybody.